Hello guys, I'm Ariyibi Adekunle. I'm a front-end web developer and also a front-end web facilitator. So I will be the one to be taking you guys front-end web development. So this is what we should have done last week. So today is 7, so we should have started around April 28th. So this is what we need to cover. So this is what I will need to do. So I'll make sure I do video on every topic. Then I will send it to you guys. Then if we have time, we can schedule maybe a Google Meet where you can ask questions. Then I will answer. So let us start with so day one, week one. So we are still in week one, if I'm not mistaken. So the first thing we have here is HTML introduction. So the materials we'll be using is W3 school, and the reason for this W3 school is because it is beginner friendly. It is beginner friendly. So if you don't know anything about web, you can just easily come to W3 school and learn. So let us start. So with HTML introduction, and mind you, there are some things that I will be explaining that you can't you can't find on this platform. So make sure you digest this tutorial very well. So let us start with HTML. So as you can see, HTML is the standard markup language for creating a web pages. So what they are telling us here is that the only language that we can use to write a web page is called HTML. So here we have several bullet points explaining what HTML is. So the first thing you need to know about HTML is that HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, right? That is the acronyms for HTML. Then the next one we have is HTML is the standard markup language for creating a web page. So I've said that. Then the next one, HTML describes the structure of a web page. Yes, because if you want to write a web page, you need a particular structure. You need a declaration, you need head section, then you need the body section. So the next one we have here is HTML consists of a series of elements. Yes, for you to write a web page, you need some elements like a body, head, title, paragraph, image, and the likes. So we have a lot to that. Then what we have in the next one is that HTML element tells the browser how to display the content. Yes. So if you pay attention to this and you check it in your browser, so your browser is not displaying all this code. You understand? So it will just tell your browser how to display the content. So your browser is not displaying the code directly. And behind the scene, what is happening in your browser is that your browser do have what we call HTML rendering engine. You understand? So it's a kind of engine that interprets HTML code, or let's say that display HTML code into content that user can interact with. So the next one we have here is HTML element labels pieces of content such as this is a heading, this is a paragraph, and the likes. So what we have here is that we have a simple HTML document. So by default, this is what we have in our HTML documents. So whenever you want to create any HTML document at all, you need to start with the document declaration, the root element, which is this and this, then the head elements, and then finally the body elements. So if we come here, let us know what each code is working for. So the first one, which is the document declaration, you can see, so this one signifies that this is HTML5 document because we have different versions of HTML, right? We have different versions from HTML to HTML 2.0, we have 3.0, we have HTML4, we have XHTML, then we have HTML5. So currently, HTML5 is the latest version of HTML. Then the next one we have here is root elements. You can see this stand for root elements, and the reason why they call it root elements is because inside this root element you can now have several HTML elements. Then the next one is the head element. So the head element contains meta information about the page. Yes, so you pay attention here. So we can have title, then we can have series of meta tags. Then the next one we need to talk about is the title element, right? So which is here. So this title element specify a title for your page. So if you pay attention to something like this, so this is what we call title. You understand? So anything that is in between your title elements, any content that is in between your title elements will be displayed in the browser's title bar. For example, something like this. Then the next one we have is body. You understand? So inside this body, so it is the visible part of our web page. So any content you have within this body will be displayed in your browser. Then we have each one and paragraph. So before we move on, so let me walk you guys through how to write your first web page. So if you want to write your first web page, the first thing you need to do is to create a folder. So let us create a folder. So I can do that by right clicking, then I click on new, then finally I click on folder. Then let us rename it. So let us call this PHA Web Development. Good. So after creating this folder, the next thing you need to do is to open this folder inside a code editor. So here we have different kind of code editor. So what are the uses of code editors? So code editors are mainly used to write code. You understand? And it's part of the tools that you need as a front-end web developer to work with. So we have two tools that you can work with as a front-end developer. The first thing is your code editor. Then the next one is your browser. So for this code editor, we have different code editor. So the most widely used one is VS Code. So we have Notepad. So we can write code on Notepad too. So we have Notepad plus plus. Then we have Atom. Then we have brackets. So to mention but few. So for the browser, we have Chrome. So Chrome is the best browser to use for web development. So we have Microsoft Edge. So we have Opera Mini. Then we have Mozilla Firefox. You understand? So you need to get this. So if you don't have any code editor at all, so you just need to go to your browser. So the one I will prefer you guys to use for this course is VS Code. Just type download VS Code to any browser, you understand? So then you click on this link. So let us wait for it to load. So as you can see, so if you are using Windows, you can just use this, or you can use this download button here to download the VS Code. Or let's say you are using Mac, you can use this to download VS Code on Mac. So I already have VS Code on my system, so I don't need to um, panic about that, right? So the next thing I need to do is to open this particular folder on VS Code on my code editor, right? So if you install your VS Code very well, when you right click on any folder, you should see this option that says open with code. But if you don't do that, if you don't install it very well, so you need, while installing it, you need to option in for open with code features, you understand? But if you don't have that, so you will need to do this. So you just click on the folder, then let us maximize this. Then you now click on here, you make sure you highlight the place, then you type CMD. So what we are trying to do here is that we want to open this particular folder with VS Code. You understand? So there's a way you can do it manually, but I would suggest if you can do it like a developer, right? So you make sure you open this with CMD, then you type code space dot, then you click on enter. So by doing that, it will open the folder with VS Code. So if you want to know more about VS Code, you can make research on VS Code, because VS Code is more than just a code editor. You understand? So VS Code is like a complete IDE, integrated development environment. So if you want to know about that, I can make video on it, or I can actually send link to uh, how you can understand VS Code better. You understand? So here you come to this folder name. Then here you can see new file. If you want to create a file, if you want to create a folder, you click on this. But now we just want to create a file. So we click on new file. Then the next thing we need to type is the name of the file. So let us call it index. Then we need to add .html, because whenever you want to create a folder, an HTML file, you understand, you need to add .html as an extension. You understand? So whenever you want to create any web page, any HTML file, you need to add .html extension. Then let us click enter. Then so we have several shortcuts we can explore in this VS Code. You understand? We have several shortcuts. So the first one is by pressing Shift 1. So if you press Shift 1, so it will give us a code snippet of HTML document. So Shift 1, then you click on Enter. So can you see it? This is the document declaration I explained earlier on. Then this is the root element. So this is the head element, and this is the body element. So after doing this, you will notice one white bulb here. So it means that we need to save. Then click on save. You do what? You click on save. So if you want to view your um your code in your browser, so this is how you go about it. Although we have several ways of going about it, you can use live server, but if you don't have live server installed on your system, there's no how you can interact with that. So let us do it manually, right? So here in this title section, let me call it THA what? Okay, so let's say THA front end. Okay, then I click on save. Make sure I save. So if you don't want to be saving here and there, you can just directly come to file, then you scroll down and you click on autosave. So this autosave means that it will be saving anything you are doing automatically. Yeah. So in this body, let's say, so let me add H1. Then let's say you are welcome to PHA front-end front-end development class. Okay, then we need to save again. So we need to save. So the next thing we need to do is to open our folder. Let us, so inside our folder here, you notice one thing. So we have Microsoft Edge logo here. So the reason is that whenever you are saving a file, so then you are using .html, so the default browser you are using on your system will quickly pick it up. So let us click on it. Okay, so as you can see, we have you are welcome to PHP here. So if we take a look at here, you can see the title. So that is what all this is about. The document declaration and how it works. You understand? So anything you are adding, so let's say I add paragraph, let's say uh first class, then I save. So you just need to save and come here, then you make sure you refresh. So anytime you are refreshing, so you'll be seeing anything. So any content at all that is in between this body will be visible to your web page.